Hello everyone, this is Ibrahim Aljada again. Please follow the exact order of lessons in this course for ultimate benefit, starting with the introduction, then lesson 1, and so on. Lesson 1, the ba letter or harful ba, should not be skipped as it is the main building block in this course. The following lesson is designed with the assumption the order of lessons in this course as encouraged here is followed as much as possible, and so, for practical reasons, less time will be spent explaining major concepts by the instructor. Thank you. In this lesson, we'll be covering the letter ta. For simplicity, you could call it ta, or tu, or ti. It is commonly known as the letter ta, but I encourage you to call it in its full name, ta. This is how the shape looks like in Arabic as presented on the first line. But remember, the letter could look differently when it is presented at the beginning of the word versus the middle of the word versus the end of the word, and whether it is on its own or connected to a letter before or after. The name in English, as you see here on the second line, is one way to write it, but you could invent any other way to write it if it feels better in a different format. The third line shows you the name of the letter in Arabic, ta. So how is the letter ta or ta produced in the mouth? Luckily, the letter is shared between English and Arabic. Generally speaking, the letter is produced in the mouth by the tip of the tongue touching the gum of the upper front teeth. Again, the letter ta is produced by the tip of the tongue touching the gum of the upper front teeth, as shown here in this figure. So how is the ta letter written? Luckily, the ba, ta, and tha letters look very much alike except for where you put the dot or dots below or above the body of the letter. The ta letter has a right arm followed by a body on the horizontal line and ends with a left arm above the line, and then you add two dots on top. Let's redo that. Right arm, body on the line, left arm, two dots, ta or ta. For simplicity, as a beginner, you could treat each letter as a geometrical figure with corners composed of acute and 90 degrees angles. For example, you could here add a 90-degree angle at the right corner and a 90-degree angle at the left corner with two dots. This is good enough for a ta letter as long as the reader knows what you are presenting. And you could have your own creation of the ta letter that adds to the fun of the course. Or you could turn the right arm into an acute angle, then straight line for the body on the horizontal line, then another acute angle at the left corner, and then you add the two dots on top. How would a ta letter look like at the beginning of a word? You draw or write the right arm of the ta letter, and then you continue with the body of a ta letter with two dots on top. This is how it looks like at the beginning of a word. How would it look like in the middle of the word? This is how it looks like. You have a previous letter connected to it, then the right arm of the ta letter, followed by a body of the ta letter with two dots on top. Let's redo. Extension of the letter before, right arm of the ta letter connected, then body of the ta letter with 2 dots on top. Pause the video any moment to practice. Please, practice and repetition are critical for succeeding in this course. How would the ta letter look like when it is on its own? I've shown you this in the beginning. Right arm, body, left arm, 2 dots. This is how it looks like when it is on its own. So how it may look like when it is at the end of a word connected to a letter before. This is the extension of the letter before. You have the right arm of the ta letter followed by the body and then left arm. This is ta at the end of a word connected to a letter before. Let's repeat. Extension of the letter before, right arm of the ta, body of the ta, left arm of the ta with 2 dots on top. This is how it looks like when the ta letter is at the end of a word connected to a letter before that. Pause the video and practice, please. I want you to practice how the ta letter may look like when it is on its own, when it is at the beginning of a word, when it is at the middle of a word, and then when it is at the end of a word connected to a letter before that. Let's go to the next session. In this session, I'll be covering the ta letter when it has on it the short vowels, the fatha, the dhamma, the kasra. These have been extensively explained in the main building block of this course in lesson 1, the ba letter. If you don't feel comfortable, you can go back to the related session. I'll go over the short vowels here with the ta letter quickly for practical reasons. So this is how the ta letter would look like when it has the fatha on top. How do you think it should be pronounced? Ta. Again, the pronunciation will be ta. Let's try and write it. This is the ta letter with the fatha on top. Pause the video and try to practice. Let's redo. Ta letter with fatha on top. What do you think the ta letter would look like when it has a dhamma short vowel on top, and how should it be pronounced? Pause the video and think about it for a moment. This is how the ta letter would look like with a dhamma on top. What do you think the pronunciation will be? 2. Again, 2. Let's try and practice how the ta is written with a dhamma on top. This is the ta and this is the dhamma. Let's try again. Ta, dhamma on top, and the pronunciation will be 2. Again, 2. Pause the video and practice. The third short vowel, if you remember, would be the kasra. How do you think the pronunciation of the ta letter would be like? It will be T. How would it look like? This is how the ta letter would look like with a kasra underneath. The pronunciation will be T. Again, T. How would it be written? Practice after me. T. This is the ta letter with a kasra underneath. Let's redo. Ta. Kasra. Pronunciation T. How would it look like when it's at the beginning of a word? Try to figure it out. T. How would it look like in the middle of the word with the kasra? T. What about the end of a word when it's connected to a letter before? T. Let's try that again. T. Excellent. Pause the video and practice on your own. This is all the formats of the ta with the short vowels fatha, dhamma, and kasra. Let's go to the next session. This session will deal with the long vowels, which were explained again in the ba letter lesson. I hope you've mastered them there. This is the alif long vowel or a, and this is how the ta letter would look like when it is attached to the a letter. Let's practice writing it. Ta, and then you add the alif letter or the a long vowel, so you pronounce it as ta. You could add the fatha. Pause the video and practice on your own. Ta. How do you think it would look like if it is attached to the oo or wow letter? Oo or wow long vowel. And how would it be pronounced? Try, think, two. Let's do it. So this is how it would look like when it is attached to the wow or oo long vowel, and the pronunciation will be two. Let's practice writing it. Let's practice again. Two. Try it on your own. What is the third long vowel? It's like an extension of the kasra short vowel. It'll be an E. So how do you think the ta will be written when it's attached to the ya or E long vowel? And how would it be pronounced? T. Let's go there. Here you see the ya or E long vowel attached to the ta. So it becomes a T. And if the ya long vowel or E long vowel is attached to the ta letter in the middle of a word, let's say you have a teet imaginary word, this is how it looks like. Let's practice. T. Again, T. How about when the long vowel E or ya is in the middle of a word attached to the ta letter? Let's say you have here teet, so you have the ta, ya, and ta. And as you notice, it's convenient to write the body of the letter or letters first, and then you add the dots. So I wrote the body of the three letters here in the word, and then I'm adding the dots. Teet. This word doesn't exist in Arabic. It's an imaginary word for explanation. And you can create your own words. So we have teet. Alright? Excellent. So this covers the three long vowels. Here you see the three long vowels. Alif, waw, and ya, or a, oo, and e together attached to the ta letter on one sheet. Pause the video, practice on your own, create your own words and styles, and feel comfortable. Good. Next session. In this session, we'll cover the tanween, as explained extensively before in the ba letter. I hope you feel comfortable by now. So the tanween includes tanween fatha or two fathas, tanween dhamma or two dhammas, and tanween, what do you remember? tanween kasra, two kasras. This is how it looks like when it has the tanween fatha or two fathas. How do you expect the pronunciation will be like? 10, 10. Think of the tanween as two short vowels connected together of the same brand. The first short vowel remains as is, pronounced as is, and the second short vowel is converted into an letter. So here it becomes, because you have the short vowel fatha duplicated, the first remains, the second is converted to an. This is pronounced as 10. Again, 10. Let's practice. Ta, 10. Again. Ta, 10. And remember from the previous lesson, the tanween could only appear at the end of a word. It cannot appear in the middle of the word or the beginning of a word. So always remember, tanween is only to take place at the end of a word. And remember here, when you have tanween fatha, you have to add the alif or long vowel a. But the truth is that this is written, the alif is written here, but it is a silent letter. It doesn't affect the pronunciation of the letter with the tanween, as if it is non-existent, but it has to be written for completion. So this is pronounced as 10. It's not pronounced as tan. No, it's pronounced as 10, but it's a silent a letter or silent alif letter. Remember that, please. The next tanween is the tanween dhamma or two dhammas. This is how it should look like when the letter ta is on its own. How would it be pronounced? Tun. Again, tun. The first short vowel dhamma remains as is. The second one is converted to an, so it becomes tun. Let's practice. Tun. Remember the three formats of the tanween dhamma? Try to remember. They were explained in the ba letter, lesson 1. I hope you do remember. This is how the tanween dhamma may be written. The third format is this one. So all these are tun, tanween dhamma or two dhammas. Again, remember, tanween can only happen at the end of a word. How would it look like if it is attached at the end of a word with a letter before and it has tanween dhamma on top or two dhammas on top? Tun. Tun. I hope you got it right. So what will be the third kind of tanween if you remember? What do you expect? The two kasras or tanween kasra. How would the ta letter look like when it has the tanween kasra or two kasras? Try to guess it on your own. How would it be pronounced? I hope you got it right. 10. This is how the ta letter would look like when it is on its own attached to tanween kasra or two kasras. Let's practice. Ten. So this is how a ta letter would look like with tanween kasra or two kasras at the end of a word attached to a letter before. 10. Let's try that again. 10. Excellent. These how the tanweens would look like. The tanween fatha, two fathas, tanween dhamma, two dhammas, and tanween kasra, two kasras would look like when they are with the letter ta. Let's go to the next session. I'm basically following the same sequence of major concepts as explained before in the ba lesson. So this session will cover the sukoon, or for simplicity, the stop sign. So the ta letter would be pronounced as, try to remember that, it. And these are the two formats or the two shapes the sukoon could look like, as presented here on top of the letter ta. It. Let's practice. It. It. What about if the ta was in the middle of the word? It. It. How about if it was attached to a letter before it at the end of a word? It. Okay, I hope it is starting to make sense, because I'm repeating the same concepts from the previous main lesson, the letter ba, and things are basically looking similar, and it should get easier with practice. I will be following the same format for the remaining Arabic alphabet letters, and I hope you would enjoy the course more. The guessing process will be easier for you, and the degree of comfort will get better over time. All right? Let's go to the next session. This session, if you remember, following the same sequence from the previous lesson, the letter ba, it's going to be shadda with fatha. I'm emphasizing the letter, and the pronunciation will be itta. The next style of shadda will be shadda with dhamma, and it should be ittu. The third style of shadda will be shadda with kasra, and the pronunciation will be itti. Let's practice. You have the shadda with fatha here, itta. Itta. How about if it was in the middle of the word? Try to guess. Itta. How about the end of a word connected to a letter before? How do you think it should look like? Itta. Excellent. Let's go to the next style of shadda with dhamma. Ittu. The letter is emphasized with the addition of the short vowel dhamma. Ittu. Let's practice. All right. What if the ta letter is in the middle of a word with the shadda with dhamma? Try again. How about if it was at the end of a word attached to a letter before it with a shadda with dhamma? Let's try again. Excellent. The next style of shadda is shadda with kasra. How should it look like when the ta is on its own, with a shadda with kasra, when the ta is in the middle of a word, when the ta is at the end of a word connected to a letter before it. Pause the video, try to guess on your own, practice. Let's see if you got it right. So this is itti. Itti. The letter is emphasized with a short vowel kasra. Itti. Itti. Let's practice. How about if it was in the middle of a word? How about if it was at the end of a word attached to a letter before with a shadda with kasra? Let's try that again. Slowly. Perfect. Here you see the three styles of shadda, with fatha, with dhamma, with kasra, and how the ta would look like with the shadda attached to it. Let's go to the next session. The next session will deal with the shadda with two fathas, shadda with two dhammas, and shadda with two kasras. How do you think this should be pronounced based on the previous lesson or the ba lesson? You have the letter emphasized with a tanween or two fathas. It-tan. It-tan. And remember, because there is a tanween here, this can only take place at the end of a word. And when you have a tanween fatha, what do you add to the letter? This is unique to the tanween fatha. You add the long vowel alif, a, but it's a silent alif, silent a. So it is it-tan, it-tan. Let's practice. Ten. The next shadda will be shadda with two dhammas, and try to figure out the way it should be written and the way it should be pronounced. Shadda with two dhammas, tun, tun. The letter is emphasized. The tanween dhamma, the first short vowel dhamma, stays as is. The second is converted to an, so it becomes tun, tun. Let's practice. What if we have the other style of the tanween dhamma? This is the shadda, and this is the other style of tanween dhamma. What about the third style of tanween dhamma? Shadda and then dhamma. Tun, tun. How should it look like if it is at the end of a word attached to a letter before? Remember, because there is a tanween here, whether it is on its own or attached to a shadda, it can only take place at the end of a word. So let's say you have a ta letter at the end of a word attached to a letter before with a shadda and two dhammas. How should it look like? Ta, shadda, two dhammas. Tun, tun. Ta at the end of a word, shadda, two dhammas. Excellent. The next style will be shadda with two kasras. Try to figure out how it should look like and how it should be pronounced. And I hope you get it right. This is shadda with two kasras. It 10. It 10. The letter is emphasized. And then you add a tanween kasra to it. The first short vowel kasra remains as is. And the second is converted to an. With a combination of a shadda, you pronounce it as it 10. It 10. Let's practice. Let's try again. Ta, shadda, two kasras, a 10. How should it look like if it was at the end of a word attached to a letter? Remember, the ta could be on its own the way it is here at the end of a word, and it could be attached to a letter. And because there is a tanween here, it can only take place at the end of a word. How should it look like if it is attached to a letter before it at the end of a word? This is the extension of the letter before. Let's try that again. A 10. A 10. Excellent. These are three styles of shadda attached to tanween. Shadda with two fathas or tanween fatha, and shadda with two dammas or tanween damma, and shadda with two kasras or tanween kasra. It 10 as shown on the first line, it tun as shown on the second line, it 10 as shown on the third line. Pause the video, practice, be creative. Remember, we have two letters of the alphabet now to imagine and create Arabic words. We have the ba letter, the ta letter. We have the long vowels, alif, waw, and ya. We have the short vowels, the shaddas. Try to create your own imaginary words. Try to play your own game here. Try to enjoy the course. See you in the next session. It's fun time now. We've covered the major concepts like we did with the lesson 1 ba letter. We redid these major concepts in a quicker fashion in this lesson for practical reasons. I don't want you to get bored. This is fun time now. Time for seeing how much we learned. Time for practice. Time for quizzing. Remember, we have the short vowels, the long vowels, the sukoon, the shadda, the tanweens, the shadda with any of the tanweens. This gives us more chances to create and imagine more fake words in Arabic, or possibly real genuine words in Arabic. How do you think these three words should be pronounced? The first word, you have a ba, a ta, another ta at the end. You have a short vowel fatha on the first letter, a short vowel damma on the second letter, a short vowel kasra on the third letter. How do you think this should be pronounced? Ba to ti. Ba to ti. Ba to ti. Excellent. Let's go to the second word. What do you think the pronunciation will be with these short vowels? Ti, ba, ti. Again, ti, ba, ti. Tibati. Tibati. Excellent. How about the third word? With the short vowels. The first letter has a kasra. The second letter has a kasra. The third letter has a damma. The pronunciation will be bitibu. 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 Excellent. Next practice. Here we have four words. A couple of them do exist in Arabic. The first word is, try to figure out the pronunciation. You have two short vowels fatha. You have a long vowel a or aleph. The pronunciation will be bata. 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 Went to bed or slept. Bata. The second word does exist in Arabic. Try to figure out the pronunciation. You have two short vowels, fatha, and a long vowel, alif. The pronunciation will be taba, taba, taba. Not taba, taba. Some extension of the short vowel, fatha. Taba. Meaning, he reverted to the right path or asked for forgiveness. Taba. This word, try to figure out the pronunciation. You have two short vowels, fatha, and two alif long vowels. So, not tata, it is ta-ta, ta-ta. So we don't say ta-ta. It will sound weird. We say ta-ta, alright? We wouldn't say tata, that's short vowels. We say ta-ta. Tata. The last word has a short vowel fatha and a tanween kasra at the end with a long vowel alif. How do you think the pronunciation will be? Tabin. Again, tabin, tabin, tabin. I hope it is starting to make sense and sounding to be more fun for you. Excellent. Now I want you to find the shadda in all of its formats. A shadda with tanween or just a regular short vowel. Try, pause the video and test yourself. And how would the letter be pronounced? The first shadda here has a tanween dhamma on top, so the letter will be pronounced as ittun, ittun. The letter is emphasized with the two dhammas, ittun, ittun. The next shadda is shadda with a short vowel fatha. The pronunciation will be ibba, ibba, because it is on top of a ba letter. So it's ibba, ibba. The third shadda is this shadda with a tanween kasra. How do you think this ta letter will be pronounced? It-tin, it-tin. Try and figure out the pronunciation of each of these words. Pause the video, test yourself. The first word will be pronounced as batun, batun. The second word will be pronounced as tabba, tabba. The third word will be pronounced as butin, butin. Excellent. I hope you got them all right. We're almost there, towards the end of this lesson. This word does not exist in Arabic. It is fake. It's for the sake of practice. You can create your own words. Have fun. How do you think this will be pronounced? Try to figure out the short vowels. How would the letter be pronounced with the attachment of any of these short vowels? Find the long vowels. Try to find the letter attached to each of these long vowels. There is a shadda here, and it's attached to tanween kasra. How do you think the ta letter it is attached to here will be pronounced when the ta letter is on its own? Try to pronounce the whole word. Pause the video, test yourself, and come back. Let's try. Boo-ti-batin. Let's try again. Boo-ti-batin. Boo-ti-batin. بوتيبات. Sounds silly, but very useful. How about this word? Again, ask yourself, what are the major letters of the alphabet involved here? Are there any short vowels? How would each of these letters would be pronounced with any of these short vowels? Are there long vowels? How would the pronunciation would be? Cut this word into small fragments as if you are dividing a task into smaller jobs. Do you have any shadda? Do you have any tanween? Make it simple and then build the blocks together to figure out the actual pronunciation of this fake word. Pause the video, come back, let's pronounce it. بوتيبابات. بوتيبابات. Again. بوتيبابات. Excellent. How about this word? Follow the same pattern. What are the main letters of the alphabet involved? What are the short vowels and how would they change the pronunciation of each of these alphabet letters? What about the long vowels? Spot them. How would they affect the pronunciation? What about the shadda? Is the shadda attached with the tanween? Pause the video, come back. Let's try and pronounce this word. It's tricky here. You have two ya letters. One of them will be pronounced as a long vowel. The other one will be treated as a regular letter of alphabet. So how do you think the pronunciation will be here for this word? Challenge yourself. بي يا باتوتون. 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 We come now to the end of this lesson. I hope you found it useful and easier to follow through as we were repeating the major concepts we presented in the previous major ba letter lesson. And I hope you liked it, found it meaningful. I hope you enjoyed it. See you in the next lesson. Bye for now.